Welcome back. All right, so 10 games to review, and a reminder for people who may not already know, the power rankings will post on the channel on Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. Still plenty early for people in Europe as well. It's a matter of these Saturday night reviews. The view counts are really low. And I know it's because I post this and then immediately after the power rankings takes over and it just overwhelms it. So, the Saturday night reviews will go up. There will be that break, and then the power rankings will get posted Sunday mornings going forward. All right, so starting things out, we're going to talk about Philadelphia and the Florida Panthers. I think Philadelphia's playing better lately. It's Ersson versus Bobrovsky. It was nice to see Sam Ersson back in the lineup for Philly. And another Philly game broke the app tonight. I can't get into it, so I had to go find the stats another way. Good job. All right, Hathaway has a rush chance that deflects out. The Flyers had the only shot on net 3 minutes in. Barkov has a turnover chance that's blocked. There was a crossbar for Ekblad, and then at 4:57, Philadelphia opens the scoring. Farabee buries a rebound. Lawton and Brink with the assists. 1-0 for the Flyers. The Panthers press to respond, but we get a power play for the Flyers. Forrester hits a post. That's killed off. Shots are 7-3 Flyers at 9 minutes. The Panthers draw a power play. That's killed off. Just the one shot on net. Florida presses with 2 minutes left. They had some late momentum, but they come out of that period down 1-0. Second period. The shots are only one apiece, 2.5 minutes in. It was honestly feeling like a very Flyers style of game. Strong back checking by the Flyers at this point. Lundell then backhands one over the net, and at 5:32 on a point shot, Schmidt buries one far corner. Rodriguez and Barkov with the assists. Florida ties it up. Panthers press at 7.5 minutes, and they were really starting to take control of the game. Things get pushy on a hold by Ersson. Florida scores. Was it a missed stoppage? I thought it was, but the review says no. So Kulikov from Rodriguez and Reinhardt at 8 minutes and 40 seconds, which means Florida goes to the power play with the lead. Philadelphia kills that off. Then we were going to have a power play for the Flyers, but they scored during the delayed call, which, considering the way their power play sometimes goes, might be for the best. Richard gets that one from Konechny and Ristolainen at 12 minutes and 59 seconds. And Anthony Richard's going to make for a very interesting career video someday because of the way that his career's gone and the teams he's played for and those brief NHL appearances. Florida, though, would get the lead back. Bennett buries a cross-ice pass for Hagee and Mikkola with the assists at 14:56. It's 3-2 Florida after 2. Third period, there's an early press by Florida. The Panthers with more pressure, 5 minutes in. There's a near miss for Tkachuk in close. Sanheim has a shot that's blocked as the Flyers then get some pressure. We get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. And then at 9 minutes and 47 seconds, Hathaway ties the game from Lawton and Seeler. In fact, the shots are 5-4 for Philly with 5.5 minutes left. Couturier is a tip shot that's held. And then in the last minute, there was a lot of pressure by the Florida Panthers. They just could not solve Ersson, so we go to overtime. The Panthers controlled early. Farabee fires one high on a 2-on-1. There's a post for Jesper Boquist. Sanheim's robbed on a fast break. Honestly, very good overtime. But we go to the shootout. And in the shootout, Evan Rodriguez with the winner. So 4-3 shootout victory for Florida. They go to 11-3-1. Philly's 5-8-2. But again, I think they're playing better than they have been. Shots on net, 11-10 Philly in the first, 13-7 Philly in the second, 11-7 Florida in the third, 6-3 Philly in the overtime. Final shots 37-31 for the Flyers. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits, 23-16 Philadelphia. Ersson saves 28 out of 31. Bobrovsky, 34 saves on 37 shots. All right, next up. Boston at home against Ottawa. So Boston decided not to take shots for a long period of time. Again, offense is an issue for the Boston Bruins, and tonight's a really good example. So it's Ullmark versus Swayman. They had a nice pregame goalie hug, which I thought was a nice touch. Early jump for Ottawa. The shots are 2-1 Sens, 4 minutes in. Fredericks denied on a rush. A lot of one and done for both teams, not a lot of sustained pressure. The shots are 5-3 Ottawa with 9 minutes left. The Bruins press with 6 minutes left. There's a power play for Boston. Pasternak has a one-timer that's held. That power play's killed off. With 1:33 left, the Sens get a power play, and they score on it. It is Norris from Tkachuk and Batherson at 19:52. So late seconds, the Ottawa Senators have a 1-0 lead. Second period, there's too many Bruins on the ice, so the Sens with an early power play. That's killed off. The Bruins press after it's done. Pasternak couldn't bury one in close. And then at 4:51, after the Sens fail to clear the puck, Zacha puts in a backhand, Pasternak and Zadorov with the assists. That ties it at 1. And seconds later, at 5:06, Marchand scores from Brazeau and Hampus Lindholm. So it's 2-1 Boston. The Sens then press. They're kept to the outside. Tkachuk's denied on a fast break. We get a power play for Ottawa. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 that ends it, and then the Senators rush the other way. Bruins press with 4.5 minutes left, but Ottawa would tie it. Amadio scores from Gregor and Chabot at 17:16. With 1:45 left, Boston gets a power play, so it's 2-2 after the second period. Third period, the Sens finish the kill. Ottawa presses at 2.5 minutes. There's a blocker save on Tkachuk in close. Hamonic takes a puck to the face. He had to exit for repairs. Thankfully, it went off his stick and up into his face, so that means it's going to take some of the velocity off of it. Not that it doesn't hurt. Shots are 3-0 Senators at 4.5 minutes. Penguins didn't play today. Bruins press are kept to the outside. There's a press by Boston at 6.5 minutes. Not that they get a shot on net. The Senators are blocking, keep him to the outside. Koepke is down on a hit by Jensen. He exits. Halfway through the period, there weren't any Bruin shots. In fact, we'd gone over 15 minutes. I don't know. The clock kept coming up. It was in like the 24, 25 minute. It's insane. It was a lot. The fans were getting restless. I was getting kind of restless watching it. Gregor has a slapper that's held, and honestly, Swayman gets this one to overtime. In the overtime, Boston gets a chance. There's a turnover. Tkachuk buries it at 21 seconds on a rebound, and Ottawa wins 3-2 in overtime. They go to 7-7 with the overtime win. Boston drops to 7-7-2. Shots on net, 10-7 Ottawa in the first, 10-8 Ottawa in the second, 12-0 Ottawa in the third, and 2-1 Ottawa in the overtime. Final shots, 34-16 Ottawa. Power plays, the Sens 1 for 3, Boston 0 for 2. The hits, 42-35 for Boston. Ullmark, 16 saves on 18 shots. Swayman, 31 saves on 34 shots. So better save percentage for Swayman than Ullmark, but Ullmark comes out tonight with the victory. All right, next up, Montreal and Toronto. It's Montembeault versus Woll in this one. And early on, I'm hearing them talk about Montembeault's numbers and, consistency and all this. It's the defense. Montembeault's been fine. So the Leafs have the only shot on net 3 minutes in. The Habs press at 4.5 minutes. Goulet has a shot that's held. There's a press by Montreal at 7 minutes. Shots are 4-2 Toronto with 9.5 minutes left. There wasn't really a whole lot going on in this one. Nylander has a rush chance that's held, and then at 14:55 from the right circle, Timmins has one that deflects in. Benoit and Reeves with the assists, so it's 1-0 Toronto. Unusual scoring play there. Tavares then has a rush chance that's saved. Nylander to McMahon. That chance gets picked off, and it's still 1-0 Toronto after 1. Second period. The Habs had the only shot on net 2.5 minutes in. We get a press by the Habs. They're kept to the outside. Toronto gets a power play, and this power play has been lethal lately. Nylander scores from Nyes and Riley at 5:39. It's just one of those beast mode goals where it's like, all right, I'll just bury my head, and I'll go and get the puck in the net, and he did. The Habs press for a response. We get a power play for Montreal, and that leads to a shorthanded goal. Marner buries one from the slot on a nice pass from Kampf, and at 8:24, Toronto is a 3-0 lead. But before the power play's done, Montreal answers. Gallagher with the power play marker from Heineman, and Hudson at 9:26. He just bats that one over Woll's arm into the net. Habs press for another, but we would get a power play for Toronto, and they score on it. Tavares, on a good cycle, he buries one. Marner and Nylander with the assists at 12:15. So, yeah, Nylander had quite the game. We get a power play from Montreal. That lasts 28 seconds before it becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. Then we had 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and it's 4-1 after 2 in favor of Toronto. Third period, Nylander to Tavares gets picked off. Anderson has a rush chance that's saved. The Habs press at 4 minutes. They had a good start to that period. They were out shooting Toronto 6-1 at 5 minutes. We get a power play for Toronto. That's killed off. The shots are 10-7 for the Habs with 4 minutes left. And not a whole lot happens after that. The Leafs press with 3 minutes left, but they don't need much. They just hold on and win this one 4-1. They go to 9-5-2 with the victory. Montreal 4-9-2 with the loss. It's funny because everybody on the panic index was like, why does he have Toronto up at the top? Because they're fine, as has been proven in the game since I did the panic index. Shots on net, 7-2 Toronto in the first, 12-9 Toronto in the second, 10-8 Montreal in the third. Final shots, 27-21 for the Leafs. Power plays, Montreal 1 for 2, Toronto 2 for 4. The hits, 24-20 for Toronto. Montembeault, 23 saves on 27 shots. Woll saves 20 out of 21. Honestly, Toronto's just fine. They're one of the better teams in their division, and I really think it's just everybody overanalyzes Toronto. Their record is actually quite good. All right, that being said, last game on the board, the Rangers in Detroit. Detroit played well enough to win, but they don't, and so we'll see how they respond to this. So it's Quick versus Husso. There's an early press by the Wings. In fact, the shots are 4-0 Detroit, 2.5 minutes in. Rangers press at 5.5 minutes. Panarin has a slot shot that's saved. Fox has a screenshot that deflects wide. The Wings press with 8 minutes left. Lafreniere and Raymond a little unfriendly. The Rangers end up coming out with a power play on something that was unrelated to those two players, and they score on it. Kreider from Fox and Panarin at 13-13. The Rangers then go back to the power play. That one's killed off. Raymond can't bury one in close. Quick holds. The Wings press with 2 minutes left. It's 1-0 Rangers after one. Second period, there's a post for Patrick Kane. The rebound gets held. Rasmussen has a rush chance. That's blocked. The shots are 4-3 Detroit, 6 minutes in. Wings press at 8.5 minutes. There's a power play drawn by the Wings. That's killed off. Things are punchy on a hold by Jonathan Quick, who had himself quite the game. Riley Smith fires one high on a net drive, and then at 16:52, VC gets his first goal of the season from Carrick and Zach Jones, and then at 17:40, on a great pass, Panarin with a nice shot too. He scores from Zibanejad and Lafreniere. That makes it 3-0, even though Detroit had outplayed the Rangers to that point. The Wings press to respond. Seider misses one from the slot, but yeah, and I'm watching the MSG feed on this, and they were admitting the Rangers have been outplayed, but they were up 3-0. Third period. Early press by Detroit. Kane to Compher. There's a near miss. The shots are 2-1 Detroit, 3.5 minutes in. Rangers blocking the net pretty well. The Rangers press at 7.5 minutes. Berggren's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. He's just snake bit this season. We get a power play for the Wings. The fans call one for a 5-on-3. The referee does not. Power play's killed off. Shots are 7 apiece with 6 minutes left. The Wings press with 4.5 minutes left. Eventually, Detroit pulls the goalie. I guess, sure, but you're down 3-0. You're not getting 4 on Quick. And Smith hits the empty net from Fox at 16-17. The Wings had pressed to respond, but it's a 4-0 score. The Tony the Tiger Magnets on the board. Rangers are 9-3-1 with the victory. Nice bounce back for them. Detroit 6-7-1 with the loss. Frustrating loss for Detroit. Shots on net 8-6 Detroit in the first, 19-8 Detroit in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third. Final shots 37-24 for the Wings. Power plays, New York 1 for 2, Detroit 0 for 2. The hits 25-5 for the Rangers. So, yeah. Jonathan Quick saved all 37 shots for, I don't know, it was 186 shutout. I think it was the 61st. Husso, 20 saves on 23 shots. And, now it is time to change boards. All right, so no mercy game number 1 of 1. There was almost 2, but the second one ended up being an 80s game. This one was a goal away from being an 80s game, which is at 10 goals. It's Thompson versus Binnington, and 59 seconds in on their first shot, Washington scores. It's McMichael from Chychrun. Don't look now. Connor McMichael looks like he's going to be a very good goal scorer this year, and it looks like it's not just a hot start for him. So the Caps, much more dangerous than last year. Shots are 3-0 for Washington at 2.5 minutes, but St. Louis would tie it. At 7:07 is Perunovic. It was a face-off win, and Perunovic buries it in close. Kessel and Kyrou with the assists. Yeah, there was a 1-1 tie in this game. We get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. Wilson has a one-timer. That's held. Duhaime has a rush chance that's saved. Shots are 9-4 for the Capitals with 4 minutes left. With 3:01 left, the Blues get a power play. It has some chances, but Washington kills that off. So it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, the Caps press at 2.5 minutes. The teams exchange rushes. Holloway has a wraparound chance that's blocked. I thought it was great Dylan Holloway was out there tonight. I don't know what the way this game turned out if he feels great about it. The Caps had the only shot on net 4.5 minutes in, and at 7:42, Ovechkin, he scores from Protas and Strome. Don't look now. Ovechkin might pass Gretzky by Christmas. Bolduc's denied on a breakaway, and then Chychrun, I should say, wires one from the left circle. Dubois and Wilson with the assists at 10:53. It's 3-1 for Washington. Blues press to respond. In fact, they were out shooting the Caps 7-4 with 5.5 minutes left. With 2:32 left, Blues get a power play. Schen's denied a fantastic glove save by Thompson. That power play's killed off. It's 3-1 Washington after 2. Third period, there's an early power play for the Caps, and they score on it. At 2 minutes and 9 seconds, it's Ovi again. He roofs it from the side of the net. Strome and Wilson with the assists. It's 4-1. Shots are 6-0. Washington at 3 minutes. So St. Louis making it clear early they didn't come out to play. And at 3:51, Sandin gets his second goal in as many games. Scarbosa and Mangiapane with the assists. Caps look for another. The shots are 8-1, 7.5 minutes. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Then we get a power play for Washington, and they score on it. It's McMichael with another. Strome and Carlson with the assists at 10:20, and then why not add some more? At 15:27, it's Scarbosa from Mangiapane and Ferrari. And at 16:45, it's Duhaime scoring from Carlson and Radish. It's 8-1. And yeah, for the Caps, they're 10-4 with the win. St. Louis drops below 500 at 7-8. This does just count as one game. Shots on net, 10-9 Washington in the first, 11-4 St. Louis in the second, 13-5 Washington in the third. Final shots are 27-25 for the Capitals. Power plays, Washington 2-for-2, St. Louis 0-for-3. The hits 25-18 for St. Louis. Thompson saves 24 out of 25, and Binnington 19 saves on 27 shots. He was in there for all 8 goals against. He's a very competitive goaltender, though. I don't think he'd be overly upset with the fact that he was left in, so I don't expect like a Patrick Waugh kind of thing from him. Just yeah, that's tough though. That is really tough. All right. New Jersey and the Islanders. So it was Markstrom versus Sorokin. There's an early press by the Devils. The shots are 1 apiece, 3.5 minutes in. Hutton fires one high from the slot. The Devils press at 7.5 minutes. The teams exchange turnovers. We get a power play for the Devils. Meyer has a one-timer that's held. That power play's killed off. The shots are 6-3 for New Jersey with 9 minutes left. The Devils press with 7.5 minutes left, but on a nice pass via the rush, Holmstrom scores at 13:09. McLean with the assist. It's 1-0 Islanders. Heischer's denied and close. The puck's held. So even though New Jersey outplays the Islanders, they're down 1-0 after 1. Second period, shots are 3-0 Devils at 3.5 minutes. So they pick up where they left off. The Islanders press at 4.5 minutes. We then get a power play for the Devils, and Jack Hughes puts one past a screen from up high. Hamilton and Bratt with the assists at 5:57 to tie the game at 1. In fact, the shots, they become 6-1 for the Devils, 8.5 minutes in. The Islanders press with 8.5 minutes left. Kovacevic has a wrister that's held as the Devils are pressing. Then we have a near miss for Nelson and close. Jack Hughes is denied. Sorokin holds there. Devils press with 1.5 minutes left. The Islanders then press to close it out. It is 1-1 after 2. Entertaining game. Third period, Cotter has a net drive that's defended. The shots are 4-1 Devils at 3 minutes. So all 3 periods, the Devils came out and played quite well. But then the shots even out. The Islanders are starting to improve. Holmstrom's denied from the slot. Bratt then has a rush chance. That's saved. And then it's Cholowski scoring from Holmstrom and Engvall at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And at 12:26, Nelson gets what you would think is the insurance goal for the Islanders. Palmieri and Siplikov with the assists. It's 3-1 for the Islanders. And the Islanders press with 6.5 minutes left. It looks like they're going to get this one home. However, at 15:33, Mercer tips one top corner from in close. Cotter and Siegenthaler with the assists. So you pull the goalie, and at 19:10, Nason puts one in off Grant Hutton's skate in front of the net. Jack Hughes and Hamilton with the assists. We are tied at 3 and going to overtime. The teams trade turnovers. Isaiah George mishandles one on a net drive, and then on a breakaway at 2:35. And Butch Goring, I will give him this. He said, look out. He knew Hughes was at center ice waiting for the puck. Jack Hughes buries it on a breakaway from Hamilton. No chance for Sorokin there. The Devils win 4-3 in overtime. They go to 10-5-2 on the season. The Islanders 6-6-3 with the overtime loss. So the shots on net, 10-5 New Jersey in the first, 10-6 New Jersey in the second, 12-10 New Jersey in the third. In the overtime, both teams had one shot. New Jersey's the one that went in the net. Final shots 33-22 for the Devils. Power plays, New Jersey 1 for 2. The Islanders didn't have any. The hits 34-24 for the Islanders. Markstrom saves 19 out of 22 in the victory. Sorokin saves 29 out of 33 in the loss. So for New Jersey, that's a big win. And so we'll see what kind of momentum they build from that. All right, last game on this board, Utah and Nashville. So it's Ingram versus Saros. What I thought was nice here was, so the anthem singer's microphone didn't work to begin with, so the fans start singing the anthem, and then her microphone picked up about halfway through, but I thought that was kind of nice. Early power play for Nashville, and they score on it. It is Forsberg bearing one short side, Yossi and Parsonen with the assists at 2:37. Utah nearly responds. In fact, they outshoot Nashville in parts of this game quite handedly. The shots are 3-2 Utah at 5 minutes. It doesn't stay that way. Utah presses at 5.5 minutes. Then Nashville presses at 6.5 minutes. Preds draw a power play, and it's 2 minutes of 5-on-3. Now, they kill the 5-on-3, but one of the two penalties is a 4-minute. So in the second half of that 4-minute penalty, Marchessault tips one in. Yossi and Stamkos with the assists at 11:58. It's 2-0 for Nashville. Shots are 10-3 Preds with 5 minutes left. There's a press by Nashville with 3 minutes left. They're up 2-0 after the first period. Let's go to the second. Utah presses at 2 minutes. In fact, 5 minutes in, the shots are 3-0 in favor of the Utah Hockey Club. No shots for the Preds at 8 minutes, but no problem. On an end-to-end rush, Forsberg buries one at 11:06 to make it 3-0 for Nashville. It's not how many shots you get, it's when you take them and what kind of quality. Shots are 7-3 for Utah with 6 minutes left. Utah is a 3-on-2 that's defended. Utah gets some pressure with 3.5 minutes left. With 1:17 left, the Utah Hockey Club gets a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. Forsberg's denied on a shorthanded turnover early in that period. Then there's a power play, or that was right after the power play had ended. Then we get another power play for Utah. That's killed off. Those were their only 2 power plays of the game as well. Shots are 4-3 Utah at 8.5 minutes, but who cares about the shots? They're down 3-0. Cooley is a net feed. That's blocked. The teams trade turnovers. We get a press by Nashville. They're kept to the outside. Keller has a net drive. That's blocked. And it's bend, don't break defense by the Preds. Let him get in the zone. Let them cycle. Do not let them get a good shot on net. There's some pushy sticky on a Saros hold. So that's when the guys are pushing each other. You see the sticks come up as well. Press by Nashville with 4.5 minutes left. Eventually, Utah gets the goalie out. So Nyquist hits the empty net for Marchessault at 18:15. Are we doing this now? Are coaches pulling the goalie when they're down by 3? Why? So, Nashville wins this one 4-0. Very much needed victory. You see the Tony the Tiger magnet because Saros was great. The Nashville Predators go to 5-9-1 with the win. Utah drops to 6-6-3 on the season. Shots on net, 12-4 Nashville in the first, 10-5 Utah in the second, 12-4 Utah in the third. Final shots 26-21 for Utah. Power plays, Utah goes 0-2, Nashville 2-4. The hits 35-18 for Nashville. Ingram saves 17 out of 20. Saros, a perfect 26 save shutout. And let's go to board number 3. All right, so Carolina and the Colorado Avalanche, one of the 280s games on this board. A lot of goals scored here. Spencer Martin against Georgiev. The Colorado announcers kept talking up Martin, but not all of these goals were fantastic. Like, I'm not saying Martin played badly, but I did think it was odd that, there was a goal or two there that I was like, well, maybe you need it. And they're like, nope, Martin's played great. All right, cool. So it's Martin versus Georgiev, as I said. Shots are 2-0 Canes at 2.5 minutes. Canes draw a power play. That's killed off. Shots are 7-0 Carolina at 5.5 minutes. The Avs go to the power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. And then Drury roofs one from in close. Martinook and Stahl with the assists at 9:02. And it stays that way. 2:41 left. The Avs get a power play. There's a shorthanded Jarvis chance that's held on a 3-on-1. That power play is killed off. It's 1-0 Carolina after the first. And then the second period. What a second period. Early power play for the Avs. It's killed off. It had some chances. And then at 4:37, Martinook scores. Jarvis and Walker with the assists. Shots are 6-2 for the Avs at 6.5 minutes. The Avs press at 7.5 minutes. In fact, the Canes get pinned down for a bit. Then there's a delay game call. That gives Carolina a power play, which leads to Cale Makar getting a shorthanded goal at 9:13. Roslovic's denied and close. The Avs do finish the kill on that power play. And then at 10:57, Malinsky scores from McKinnon and Girard. So it's 2-2. We then get a power play for the Canes, and they score on it. It is Natchez from Jarvis and Svechnikov at 12:26. The Avs look to respond. McKinnon's denied and close. The puck's cleared out. And then McKinnon's not denied the next time. He wires it on a rush. Lehkonen and Ludwig with the assists at 15:49. The Avs score, so Carolina calls a goalie interference challenge. It doesn't work. So the goal counts. It is Lehkonen from Rantanen and Taves at 16:42. And then during that penalty kill, it becomes 1 minute and 15 seconds of 5-on-3. So challenging that goal doesn't work. You end up on a penalty kill, and then it ends up being a 5-on-3. And during the 5-on-4, Rantanen goes post and in. Middlestad and McKinnon with the assists at 18:49. That is a 5-goal second period for the Avs. They're up 5-3 after 2. Third period, the Avs press at 2 minutes, but Martinook would score to make it a little closer from Natchez Sanaho at 2:50. The Avs press at 4.5 minutes as I decide I'm going to cut down on notes a bit because I don't know how many more goals we're going to get. I don't want to need to use the tiny board. The Canes press at 7 minutes. There's shots are 5-1 for the Canes at 8.5 minutes. The Avs press with 3.5 minutes left. Eventually, you pull the goalie. They're only down by 1, so it makes sense there. And Rantanen hits the empty net from McKinnon at 19 minutes and 10 seconds. Colorado wins this one 6-4. They go to 7-8 with the victory. Carolina 10-3 with the loss. Shots on net 14-6 Carolina in the first, 18-6 Colorado in the second, 11-5 Carolina in the third. So depending on which end of the ice you were sitting at in that building, you saw a lot of shots or you saw very few. Final shots 31-29 Carolina. Power plays 1 for 4 for the Canes, 1 for 5 for the Avalanche. The hits 16-7 for Carolina, so not a heavy hitting game. Martin saved 23 out of 28. Georgiev saved 27 out of 31. And when I saw it was Martin versus Georgiev, I had kind of anticipated we might see some goals tonight. So, yep, there you go. All right, next up, the Columbus Blue Jackets and the LA Kings. So Merzlikins versus Riddick. The shots are 2-1 for the Kings, 7.5 minutes in. We then get a power play for the Kings. Columbus kills that off. No shots on net for LA there. The shots are 2 apiece at 12 minutes. So low event hockey early on here, more than as a rush chance that's defended. And at 13:26, Voronkov scores from Danforth, which baffled me because I didn't realize that the app, the NHL app, was 2 minutes ahead of what I was watching on TV. So I thought they'd scored twice back to back as I'm scrolling through the channels and everything, not realizing that the app was well ahead of what I was watching on TV, which is beneficial. Honestly, kind of beneficial, to be honest, if I don't mind spoilers, and I don't. So we get a power play for the Kings. That becomes 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. It's 1-0 Columbus after the first. Second period. Early press by the Kings. Kopitar is a wrister that's held. And then at 4:16, Gavrikov. I think this is his second goal in 2 games. Kempe and Kopitar with the assists. Tie it up at 1. And then at 6:12, Foegele scores from Thomas and Hellenius. So Hellenius making his debut tonight. He gets an assist. His parents were in attendance. His dad played in the NHL. Good night for them. And it's 2-1 for the Kings. Sillinger's then denied on a breakaway. The shots are 8-7 for the Kings with 9.5 minutes left. Fantilli has a rush chance that's defended. Columbus presses with 8.5 minutes left. We get a power play for the Kings. There's a shorthanded Sillinger chance that misses high on a 2-on-1 rush. Power play's killed off. The Kings press afterwards with 19.8 seconds left. Columbus goes to the power play. So after 2 periods of play, it's 2-1 for LA. And early in the third period, Moore on a shorthanded rush, he wires it at 30 seconds. Dano with the assist. That gives them a 2-goal lead, which is good because then they allow the power play goal after. Provorov buries a rebound in close. Danforth and Fantilli with the assists just 19 seconds later at 49 seconds to not tie it, but get it to 3-2. So then there's a power play for Columbus. There's a near miss for Marchenko as it ends. And again, the app's 2 minutes ahead. So it's 7:05, and I knew this goal was coming. Laferriere with a tip in close. Edmondson and Foegele with the assists. That makes it 4-2 for the Kings. So what I mean by it's good is this means that I see on the app, okay, there's a goal. I know when it's going to happen, and so I know when to switch over to that game. Shots are 7-3 Columbus with 9 minutes left. The Kings press with 8 minutes left. With 2:17 left, though, the Kings get a power play. So because of that, of course, you know at this stage it's going to be over because they need 2 goals in 2 minutes, and they had to pull the goaltender to make it 5-on-5, which means Brandt Clark hits the empty net for the odd and unusual power play goal that's also an empty netter at 19:29. Kopitar and Kempe with the assists. And why this is also noteworthy is this. If you hit an empty net and it's still 5-on-5 play, that counts to plus-minus. Since this was a power play goal into the empty net, it doesn't. I do not. It's the one thing with plus-minus that to me I look at and go, and that's part of the reason it's flawed. At any rate, the Kings win 5-2. They go to 9-4-3 with a needed victory here. Columbus 5-6-2, and things have definitely turned against Columbus. A couple weeks ago, things were looking pretty good, but yeah, it's gone bad. Shots on net 7-6 Columbus in the first, 11-10 Columbus in the second. They outshoot LA 8-7 in the third as well. They do outshoot them 26-23. Power plays Columbus 1 for 3, LA 1 for 4. The hit 16-8 Columbus. Merzlikins 18 saves on 22 shots. Riddick 24 saves on 26 shots. All right, and last game of the night. This is why when the Canucks jacked up their ticket prices, I went, It's not just a matter of, bills and being able to eat and stuff, which is important. But if you're going to jack up the ticket prices, especially when it's clear you've jacked up the ticket prices because the team won their division, you got to be good at home. And now Vancouver's 1, 2, and 3 at home. So I saw comments about, on the panic index, you're not a real Canuck fan because, you put them in the concerned category because they can't win at home. I don't care if they win all the games on the road. If they can't win at home, what's going to happen come playoff time? Do you make the playoffs if you can't win a game at home? And that's where we're at. So it's Skinner versus Lankinen. There's an early power play for the Oilers, and they score on it. Draisaitl, or actually shortly after it ends, Draisaitl scores. Feels like a power play goal because it was right after it ended at 2:48. Hyman and McDavid with the assists. So that's the last thing you want if you're the Canucks. Shots are 5-1 for the Oilers at 4.5 minutes. They started on time, they had a game plan, and they executed it really quite well through about, 58 minutes of this game. So the Canucks press at 5.5 minutes. The Oilers press 9 minutes in. Höglander has a rush chance that's held. There's heavy pressure by the Oilers in that final minute. It's 1-0 Edmonton after one. Second period, the shots are one apiece at 2.5 minutes, and on their second shot, the Oilers score. It's Corey Perry from Janmark and Ryan at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and the Oilers not given much room out there, and then they score again. Arvidsson at 4:43 from Draisaitl and Kulak. To Vancouver's benefit, they do answer. Pettersson scores from DeBrusk at 5:01, and then after a failed clear by the Oilers, Hronek gets his first of the season at 7 minutes from Bluger, and Heinen makes it 3-2, and that's where the happiness ends if you're a Canucks fan. So we get a power play for Vancouver. There's a post for Pettersson. At least Pettersson's digging his way out of this slump. If you're looking for good news, there's some in the fact that Pettersson seems to be digging his way out of this slump. So, puck's cleared out. There's a short-handed 2-on-1. Brown's denied. He'd remember that. Power play's killed off. The Oilers press with 9 minutes left. The shots are 7-4 for Vancouver with 3.5 minutes left. Nurse misses one high on a net drive. The Oilers press in the final minute. The fans call one. The referee does not. And it is 3-2 for the Oilers after two. Third period. As everybody's praising Lankinen, and they're right, Lankinen to this point was keeping this game close. The dam bursts in the third period. So there's an early power play for the Oilers. It's killed off some really close calls there. There were some open nets they didn't quite hit. There were some moments where they could have buried it and didn't. But you could see that the Oilers were picking up where they left off in the first period. The Oilers then get a power play. Ryan has a fast break that saved the Canucks press at 5 minutes. And then at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, Connor Brown buries one during a press. Henrique and Janmark with the assist. So that makes it 4-2. Then the Oilers get a power play and they score on it. It's McDavid burying a rebound. Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins with the assists at 7:16. And less than a minute later, Kulak puts one through Lankinen as his confidence was gone at that point. McDavid and Emberson with the assists at 8:08. And then at 11:05, Brown just fires it at the net, and it goes in. Janmark with the assist, and that ended the night for Lankinen. It was a mercy pull. Shelovs goes in the net. Lankinen's played a lot of hockey, and eventually the Oilers were going to light somebody up, and sadly Lankinen's the goalie in the net for that. With 152 left, the Canucks get a power play. At that point, I had the no mercy magnet on the board. The Canucks make me take that magnet off the board and replace it with an 80s magnet as Suter hits the power play marker from Pettersson and Hughes at 19:06. So again, if you're a Canuck fan, the good news is Pettersson got a goal and an assist tonight. The bad news is everything else. With the win, the Oilers go to 7-7-1. With the loss, Vancouver 7-3-3. And as I mentioned, they're 1-2-3 at home. They're great on the road. At home, not as much. Shots on net, 10-7 Edmonton in the first, 7-5 Vancouver in the second. 16-6 Edmonton in the third. They just mopped the floor with them. Final shots 31-20 for the Oilers. Power plays, Edmonton 1 for 3, Vancouver 2 for 3. So at least the power play scored a couple because 5-on-5 they didn't have much going on. And it does continue the Oilers' mediocre to alarming penalty kill rate. 33-10 were the hits for Vancouver in this game. Skinner, 17 saves on 20 shots. Lankinen saves 20 out of 27. That's going to hurt the save percentage and the goal saved above average and expected and all that. Shelov saved all 4 shots in relief, so his save percentage will go up a little bit, but it is a game to forget for the Vancouver Canucks. The problem is it's a long season, and they still just have the one win in 6 games at home. Again, the Oilers really needed this one tonight, and they played like it. So we'll see what the Oilers do next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.